So recently, Justin Bonds posted a very positive seeming thread about Algorand. However, he definitely got a few things wrong, and we had a few disagreements on this. So why don't we dive in? Because I think this is illustrative of what some of these influencers, the way they manipulate data. They claim to be about data, but they actually manipulate data and use bad reasoning all the time. And let's dive into this one here, because this is going to start off our Algorand segment here. It seems good, right? Okay, so Justin Bonds, let's go through this. Algorand's tech is cutting edge, highly scalable with 10K TPS, 3-second finalization times, and stakeholder governance. Even better is that Algo is no longer permissioned. The recent P2P upgrade resolved the decentralized issues. Props for promising change and delivering. Anyone see any issues there? Anyone at all? Because I'll tell you what, let's go through them. I'm sure you guys know. You guys are going to see it. I know you're going to see it by the time I'm talking about this. First off, that is the theoretical maximum. However, it has been already increased. Okay? So this isn't even true anymore. We've had 15,000 TPS, which is 4 blocks. We've had actual blocks over this. 3-second finalization times. No, that's the block time. Finalization, as everyone on Algorand knows, is instant. So not 3 seconds. 2.8 seconds for block times. But not final. The good thing is it's final the moment you do it, because of the way it's structured. Stakeholder governance, yes. And actually, he was wrong about this. P2P hasn't actually been implemented yet. So this is actually him being wrong in favor of Algorand. He does acknowledge this one, by the way, to be fair. Still plenty of room for improvements. Sub-second finalization is now cutting edge. It's instant. It's not the 2.8 seconds is block time. It's not. The finalization, however, is instant. Transactions are final instantly when you do them. Let's see what else. And he says, yeah, there's no plans to scale Algo beyond the 10K. It's already been past 10K. And man, wait till you see his response to me. Okay, just wait till you see his response to me. It's always possible to increase block size. Moore's law alone might not be enough. Blah blah blah. Algo's current scaling, pure proof of stake. He talks about. I was expecting the P2P to slow down the network. It hasn't happened yet. Seems to be saying positive stuff about on-chain governance. I didn't even get to this part when I was reading because I was so mad that he got so much wrong. It's critical to ensuring good decision-making and governance. Successfully implemented solid governance model. Okay, cool. To me, Bitcoin and ETH are both failed experiments due to their total lack of stakeholder governance. Yeah, I kind of agree, but I don't really care about governance on Bitcoin. I just think it works as a store of value, and it's a really simple mechanism, and it continues to be a simple mechanism. But I also, I'm not going to do DeFi on Bitcoin. I just don't have any interest in that. Algo is clearly designed with decentralization in mind. I agree. A feature of Sol, for example, Lex, it makes different trade-offs. Let's see, with only 25% of the total supply going to Algorand Inc. in the foundation, considering that most new blockchains sadly launch with pre-mines above 50% nowadays. So he's happy about that. Good. He's mostly saying positive stuff, you know. He's critiquing Algo for its supply cap. It says it's unsustainable, causing a future uncertainty around supply and security. I mean, that's isn't that what we normally think of with blockchain? It allows for an easier to understand, attractive economic narrative and not resolve its flaws. By the way, I know a lot of people talk about total supply being out and that theoretically making that more scarce and driving the price up. I just haven't seen it. I mean, look how Sui is barely has a quarter of its supply out, maybe. and the price has been pumping. So it sounds right. It's one of those things that sounds right in theory, but if you look at the actual performance, it seems to the coins that have like infinite supply still crush. Like it just doesn't make a difference. I wish it did. Without inflation, the chain would be secure. Under low economic activity, the chain remains secure due to tail inflation. Algo community has been wonderful with an exceptionally low degree of toxicity. I don't know. We've gone after him, man. We did not uncover any skeletons or major red flags around Algorand. That's good. Plenty to praise, etc. Let's see. Well, let's see. I addressed it, but so did he. Okay. FYI, 10K TPS is the official claim, but actually Algorand has exceeded 14K TPS on mainnet multiple times over the past few years without any issue. Glad you agree for the name for speed. I saw the instance of 14K TPS. However, I did some chain analysis to figure out the transaction type. And that's the same thing he said to me. He's bringing up all these payments. Like, what transaction type would make it invalid? That's what I don't understand. They're real transactions. I don't know. What else do you want? What else do you want, Justin? Let me see if I can find my reaction to him. Hold on. Sorry, I'm going to look in my notifications for a second here. Yeah, here's his okay. Well, I posted this because here's his here's his correction on the P2P. He said, I made a mistake. I wrongly assumed that Algo's P2P upgrade was live by now. It is not live, which means Algo is still permissioned, centralized. Not really, but okay. By the way, this is the guy who said that SWI was decentralized because people voted to have transactions reversed or to block certain people from using it. That literally means it's permissioned. It's permissioned if people can say, yeah, you can't use this. It doesn't matter if they voted on it, okay? I stand by everything else. Algo is just not decentralized. Yeah, I think that's BS. But I said, you also got finality wrong, and the max TPS has been clocked at much more than 15K TPS. We discussed this more in the replies, but I will stand by both of those statements. I defined finality by the first block confirmation, so that is 2.8 seconds. That's fine if you want to like make your own definitions for things, but once a transaction is final and can't be reversed, that's final. It's a unique mechanism on Algorand that allows for instant finality. It's been one of its core features. So I don't think you get to turn around and just say like, oh, I don't agree with it. Without knowing the exact makeup of the transaction types in those blocks, we cannot conclude 10,000 TPS. Well, actually, yeah, you can, because the types don't matter. It's a transaction. It's a transaction, and they did more than 10,000 of them. So I had responded, oh, bonds, oh, okay, hold on. Actual blocks aren't as valuable as Justin's estimate. I see. I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And we went through and complained about this. As I said, I found a few of these. I just stick to the data types. Are happy to move the goalposts when it doesn't fit their narrative. He's not a serious person and should be ignored or mocked. There, I misspelled. I'll make fun of myself. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the problems with some of these people on, and I found this with Justin Bonds, with what's that? Oh God, what's that other guy's name? I made a whole takedown video of him. Oh shoot. I just can't think of his name right now. He did the same thing. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. These guys will like manipulate. They'll say they're all about the data, and then they use every data manipulation tactic in the book. You know, they'll cherry pick, they'll take out of context. You know, they'll they'll make unfair standards between one chain and another. And I don't really know why. I don't know what that helps you. I don't know why they do that, but they do that. And it's pretty annoying if you ask me. Yeah, what do you think about Justin Bond's post? I mean, I will say it's more positive on Algorand than he's ever been, and I guess I appreciate that. I think it's fair, and I don't even think someone, if someone makes a negative post on Algorand, if they can justify it, I'm okay with that. Like, if I think there are criticisms to be had of Algorand, price action is a pretty big one. It just hasn't had really good price action. The pump in November, December was pretty good, but the rest was, it's been not as great as the other ones. We've compared them before. Even HBAR outperformed Algorand, and that wasn't one of the best performers either. So that's that one. I want to also talk about a couple other Algorand items here. For instance, this is from Alex. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit here so you guys can see this. AlexFrance.algo. Very good creator here, by the way. Just 4 days to go before the announcement of a major new interoperability partnership from the Algorand Foundation. Looks like Algo is about to get closer to EVM ecosystems and beyond like never before. They did talk about this. So I was actually aware of this. It's nice that this is coming soon. So I don't know if this is Chainlink. We don't know who this is. This might be Chainlink. It might be someone else. But someone asked, how do you know about this? You can find interesting info on the Luma page of the AlgoCans side event happening during ETHCC, which is the community something. It's cut off there. Should probably know that. I know I've seen this. Community cans, is that what it is? AlgoCans. Anyway, yeah, so that's an interesting one. And I also want to point out that Algorand Casino will be open sourcing their code. So for those that missed it, Algorand Casino announced that it is closing down. I made a video about that earlier in the week, and now they're going to open source their code. As I'm sure most of you know, we announced that Algorand Casino will be closing its doors on Monday, June 30th. Rather than let our work disappear, we've decided to open source our entire blockchain native platform for the benefit of the Algorand ecosystem. And anyone interested in decentralized gaming development. What we're releasing, all code is released under the MIT license, completely permissive and only requires keeping the copyright notice. Here's what's now available: centralized API system, American roulette, decentralized lottery system, coin flip game, NFT buyback system, labs front-end application, some stuff they can't open source. The poker applications, because there's a third-party software, regulatory approval, traditional casino games, sportsbook platform, etc. This is going to sound kind of funny, but I always thought it would be really cool to do Quark's Bar on Algorand. I don't know. I wouldn't know the first thing about how to even start doing that, and I wouldn't really have the time anyway. But I always thought that would be really cool. And then the ASA for it could be gold press latinum, just like on Star Trek. I'm a big Star Trek Deep Space Nine guy, so I think that would be super cool. But yeah, I like I said, I wouldn't have the first clue about how to even do it, let alone do it profitably. It'd have to be profitable. I think they said, if I remember right, they said it was like $600 a day to operate. Which, that's a lot. I mean, it's not unusual in terms of operating a business, but I tend to like businesses that have low costs so that everything you make is profits. I mean, that's what I've been doing on my newsletter. My YouTube doesn't really have much cost. I tend to like low cost businesses. But yeah, so I mean, that's great. If someone wants to pick up, I think this is a great way to handle it. Just open up the stuff, say, hey, we built all this. We can save you time. If you want to do this stuff too, you can spend a little less time and a little less money on development by just taking some of these things. And yeah, I think that's a really great idea. All right, one last thing, we were going to talk about Algorand governance. So the Algorand Foundation put this out, and I think it surprised people because I guess a lot of people thought governance was just gone. Now, when I had Adri from the foundation on my channel, we talked about, the future of governance. Like, it's not gone. And they talked about this all along, that governance would continue, it just wouldn't be funded. Official announcement for Ready Pooling users about governance period 15. As we prepare to launch governance 15 next week, we wanted to address the fact that Ready Pooling smart contracts does not provide a way to integrate with governance. We understand that Ready Pooling was built with an emphasis on minimizing risk for the users. For that reason, the underlying smart contract account is not able to create and send the zero algo transaction with the note field required to manually commit algo and vote in governance. Algorand governance protocol requires off-chain reading of the transaction history in a standard message format signed by accounts declaring their commitment to gain voting power. Our technical team has thoroughly explored the possibility of integrating Ready Pooling into this process. However, the participation of application accounts controlled by smart contracts with commitments shared among multiple users raises complex challenges, particularly with respect to the trust model. To ensure the integrity of the process, it would be necessary to define a general, verifiable, protocol-independent relationship between the application account. Oh my gosh. Blah, 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 blah. Here, this is really nice. Emily Conway said TLDR. Thank you, Emily. Ready Pooling won't support governance period 15 because it can't currently integrate with Algorand governance. Users wanting to participate should use liquid staking tokens or compatible DeFi pools instead. Update in the works to ensure future periods are eligible but not possible for this coming period. Thank you, Emily. Although it is nice to get the, the one thing I think was interesting is like the why of it. And the why is that it isn't able to use the zero algo transaction with the note field, which is necessary. So that's why. That's the one thing I would say is probably missing from her write-up. I would have just put because they can't send a zero cost transaction or something like that. But otherwise, yeah, good. Thank you, Emily. Really good TLDR on that. So basically, yeah, you're going to be using liquid staking, but I don't think people are going to care that much unless you really, really wanted to vote. In fact, let me see. Okay, hold on. Let's see if they have anything on the main site here. They just say it'll be announced soon. Well, here's 15. There will be actually be 22 measures according to this. It's a much shorter period. It's a much shorter period, so there's interesting. It says zero algo equivalent LPs, but I assume my liquid staking would actually count. I'll be honest though, I was never a fan of governance. I did like the governance rewards, but I was never a big fan of governance. I found it pretty irritating because, yeah. So because like if you use the DeFi portion, like you really had to just leave your DeFi alone. You couldn't like take profits or reinvest or anything like that. And I found that very irritating. Like I was adding to it, I wasn't subtracting, but even then it would kick me out of governance. So I just usually didn't bother. But the rewards went into the DeFi rewards. And so you took advantage that way. It was a lot better. But yeah, 22, did they tell you about it? Because a lot of it's going to be around the XGov, I think, right? Yeah, oh, it's the XGov council election. So this is what you're going to be voting on. It basically you're going to be voting yes or no on all these different people. Simon is involved with Cosmic Champs. The Cosmic Champs co-founder. And they give you a nice little breakdown of who's involved. Michael Chung has been running a node since 2022. Worked as an Algorand Android developer on the Parawallet team. I want to point out there's a couple of people. Yeah, John Mazzoni, Non-Fungible Domains, friend of the channel, is one of the people. And there's a lot of, yeah, Ludo from Everyday Algonaut sometimes in the chat. I don't know if he's watching today. Ludo's been on here before. I thought that was all the ones I wanted to point out. Well, there's more people than I thought. Yeah, we got a Japanese person too. That's cool. Anyway, so that is that. But in case you were wondering, that's what's going on. I don't believe there's any rewards because all the rewards switched over to nodes. So unless I'm wrong about that, I have not seen anywhere that says that there's going to be rewards for Algorand governance. Now, the XGov people will be getting like a stipend, but that's not really the same thing. That's not like a participation award. So that is that.